Oh, wait a minute. I heard music on a boot box.
It's Midsomer Maniacs. Hey, Maniacs.
Hey, Maniacs.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mark. And this is Midsomer Maniacs, a podcast dedicated to the ITV series Midsomer Murders. Each week, we dig into an episode of the show, including the murders, the mayhem, the loonies, and everything else we love.
This week, we're talking about Dark Autumn, which is Season 4, Episode 5.
And this is Episode 18 of our podcast. Just a little disclaimer off the top. If you let your kids watch the show, they should be able to handle the podcast. But if the show is too much for your kids, the podcast probably is too.
But it could be too much in so many different ways, you know?
Indeed, it could be.
This one may be too much just because it's difficult to keep track of everybody.
And their goings on.
Yeah. Luckily, a lot of them die, so that kind of simplifies it as we go on.
It does indeed. This episode was filmed October and November in the year 2000. Broadcast date was the 16th of September 2001 with 9.77 million viewers.
Go Midsomer.
Absolutely.
Go Midsomer.
Directed by our favorite Jeremy Silverstein and written by Peter Hammond. I got an interesting little fact about Peter Hammond.
Oh, yeah?
In the early 70s, he directed a show called Ace of Wands. He wrote a show called Ace of Wands. Mm-hmm. And this show that he wrote, I just want to read the IMDb synopsis for you.
Some of the actors in Midsomer were in that show, by the way. Yeah.
A telepathic stage magician named Taro and his two assistants solve mysteries and crimes of a bizarre or magical nature and battle against villains with various powers.
Ooh. It's like Jonathan Creek if magic was real. Mm-hmm. And way over the top.
Oh, it's very hippie. I watched about 20 minutes of an episode and wow.
That's all you could handle, huh?
Yeah.
Well, he moved on.
It was freaky, man. Freaky.
He moved on to better things.
Absolutely.
He writes good episodes of Midsomer.
He does indeed. Just to do another IMDb synopsis, I usually don't put these in because they're usually horrible, but this one is a gold star
It's horrible
synopsis.
in an awesome way. Is that it?
So the synopsis for this episode is the following. The near decapitation of a local postman whose hyperactive libido also makes him the village Lothario leads to a series of grisly murders involving other promiscuous villagers.
Wow. Okay.
That does sum it up.
It does.
But it also makes it sound like he didn't die.
Yeah.
That he survived his near decapitation.
Yeah, because it was only a near decapitation, not like the guy whose head rolls into the living room. It's close, but not complete.
Well, it's just a billhook. It's not a scimitar.
This has got one of the best cold openings. And there are many good cold openings in Midsomer, but this is one of my favorites. It's the one I remember really well because the music is an absolute evil earworm.
It is indeed. The music is The Creep by Ted Heath and his orchestra. And wow, if you know Midsomer people, you go into a room of them and you go, da-na-na-na-na-na. They all know exactly the music.
They all whip out their bill hooks and wave them to the music. That's what we do.
So Dave Cutler, our postman, is delivering the mail. Mm-hmm. But he's doing a bit more than delivering the mail.
He's delivering some gropes and...
Dave, don't be so stupid. Don't just grab my boob.
Right here on the doorstep. It's really dark. I wondered, why he's delivering mail so early. We expect to have the newspaper delivered, maybe before the sun comes up. This is October.
And yet, this is Holly Reed delivering the newspapers at the same time.
Yeah, so she's delivering the newspapers, and it's really dark outside, and I was curious, so I looked it up, and this is supposedly near Oxford, right?
Yes.
So in October, in Oxford, the sun comes up at about 6:50 in the morning.
Okay.
So it's not really that early.
Not
It could be like
early.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
But it seems like middle of the night. And our mailman doesn't come that early.
Now, that being said, we have to tell people that we're early risers. So 6 o'clock doesn't seem too early in the morning for us.
No.
But it may for other people.
Yeah. But you get the impression it's like 3 a.m. It's so dark.
Yeah, it's very, very dark. Well, the only place that it's more dark is when they go to the village hall that used to be the dance hall, and it is pitch black when they get there.
The Roxy. That's because there's plywood over all the windows.
No, but like outside, the shot of it outside is like the darkest dark of Darktown.
We've got 2 characters already. Holly Reed is played by Kate Maberly. And there's 2 interesting things you need to know about Holly.
Okay, tell me about Kate.
One is that after she made this episode, she's 18 or 19.
Yeah.
She looks younger than that, but she's 18 or 19. She went on to the London Conservatory of Music and got double firsts in piano and cello.
Wow, she is Miss Fancy Pants.
And she now writes a lot of music scores.
Oh, cool.
She does that more than acting.
Okay.
But even more interesting to us anyway, is that her sister is Polly Maberly, who was Julie in Who Killed Cock Robin.
Okay, who's
The
Julie?
girl who's getting married?
Oh, really?
That's her sister.
So like 2 sisters in a row.
Back-to-back
episodes.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
And Dave Cutler is played by Rupert Walls.
Oh,
sorry, Rupert.
That's unfortunate.
That's an unfortunate name. He's only in the episode for what, 30 seconds or
Yeah.
something like that. And
His picture is in the episode. His apartment is in the episode
longer than he
him.
is, yeah. But he had another role to play in Midsomer. He was a third assistant director for 5 different episodes, including this one.
So they were like, oh, the guy who was supposed to play Dave didn't show up. Hey,
You're handsome. Get in there.
get in there.
Does this uniform fit you? Can you carry this bag?
Yep, can you get it sliced off? Your head sliced off with a bill hook?
Nearly.
Nearly.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of acting credits. I think he's primarily a director. But what would a third assistant director do?
So that person does either 2 jobs, right? They either help the second AD with setting up the camera and stuff like that, or when the second AD does B-roll or shoots off-site without the actors, they're the backup for that person.
Okay, because it sort of sounded like the assistant to the assistant to the assistant to the assistant.
It kind of is, but it's still got director in the name, so in a film crew, that holds a lot of weight.
Yeah. When I was in publishing, everybody was an editor.
Yes.
So there was like environmental editors. I was a janitor, you know. So I wasn't sure how deep directors really go.
So this cold open is kind of, again, like a horror. It's like a slasher movie.
Yeah.
Right? Because it has the whole bladed weapon, like the reveal of the weapon is kind of, it glints in the moonlight.
Is there some Foley there? Like, shring?
Yeah,
Like
I think so.
When you get out a sword the first time?
Yeah.
There's no sheath for a bill hook.
No, there isn't.
But it does glint in the moonlight.
It does. And we know that it's going to be bad for somebody. And the first time you see this, you're worried about the little girl.
Yeah.
Right? But it's Dave, and Dave takes it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the killer just walks up to him and kills him.
And we've already mentioned the song, The Creep.
Yes.
It's the signature of the killer because he doesn't always use the bill hook.
So John is the killer, okay?
Oh, you ruined it for everybody.
But we always tell him. So he's dressed in his big leather coat, which
Right.
must have gigantic pockets for his tape player
Yeah.
and his bill hook.
Yeah, this music, because it reminds him of his mom, and so he's always got it playing when he
And
kills
he's a
somebody.
creep.
And he's being a creep, listening to the creep. But it's so inconsistent in that, if he's walking around with this cassette player, you'd think more people would hear it, and that like Holly is within like 15 feet of him at one point when she's leaving one of the doors, and he's standing there supposedly playing this tape, and she doesn't stop and look to see where the sound is coming from.
And it has great fidelity. Like nowadays, John would just be throwing it up on Spotify on his phone, right?
Yeah.
So
He'd have to have a Bluetooth
it
on
would
his
be
leather
that
jacket or something.
horrible tinny speaker on your phone. So.
Yeah, and everybody reports later having heard some kind of old-timey music.
Dave gets it. I like my Midsommers where they get to the killing right away.
I can't say that their special effects on his neck are all that impressive. We don't see any meat or anything.
No, but John would be covered in blood.
Yeah, because he's in front of him for that kill. He doesn't like hook him from behind.
We're talking arterial spray at this point.
I think he would have something on him. But, maybe that's why the leather coat's handy, because he can just hose it down.
Holly finds the body and freaks out. As she should.
Poor Holly, yeah.
Absolutely.
Then we get to creepy in another way, Owen August and his hiking
Yes. He's out for a walk.
in his sock hat.
Yes. And Simon Reason, who sells desks and desks and desks
Desks are us.
and desks.
Oh, and angle lamps.
Yes, and angle lamps and file cabinets where you can put your underwear.
Yeah.
Is opening his shop, and
Robin's at the pub, and Debbie's getting her mail. It's just a typical morning,
the
right?
morning's all
Everybody's
waking
doing
up,
what they're doing.
But we hear the sirens because the cops have found Dave also.
Yeah. And so we get to meet WPC J. Nash. She's the local community support police person.
And she tells Mike Yateman that the road is closed, which is like, I can't get back to the dairy. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, he's so annoying.
And like with Who Killed Cock Robin, we've got a death basically in the village roundabout.
Yes.
You know, that's right in the middle of the village.
So at this point, I said to myself, I need to create a guide to help Sarah remember all these people and their relationships. Because I keep going, who is this person and who are they related to? And
Who are they married to, but who are they sleeping with instead? And
so there's the Yatemans, which is Mousy Woman and Dairy Farmer Angry.
right, Mary and Mike.
And then
There's the Shortlands, Debbie, the accountant who's going to die, and Keith, her very sad but works in the city husband.
yes, then there's the Reasons that are separated. Simon sells, what are the things he sells again? Desks. And his wife
Janet.
is a antiques dealer.
She sells real antiques.
Real antiques.
And then there are the Augusts.
Yes, which is Owen and old Duckface.
Louise.
We have this thing where there are a number of British women that we call Duckface. And then we have sort of nomenclature around that. There is Duckface Prime. And where all this comes from is Four Weddings and a Funeral, because she's called Duckface. I forget the actress's name from Four Weddings and a Funeral. But there are other couple of actresses who have that kind of
Longer top lip that they tend to like kind of stick out a little bit.
So there's the poor unfortunate duckface lady from Luther.
Right. She's young Duckface.
She's young Duckface, and this is old Duckface.
Yeah. Celia Emery is
Who
old.
is fantastic. I love her.
Oh, she's a great actress. But she definitely has that lip.
Yes.
And she works it. So Troy makes this, he's trying to guess, like, why did somebody kill the postman?
Yes.
And he says this thing that I know what he means, but I haven't been able to figure out why he says it the way he says it. He's like, why would somebody kill a village postman? The most you would get is a couple of gyros.
Yes.
That you could take, but you'd have to cash them. So he's talking about like what we would call Social Security checks,
Something
I'm assuming.
like that.
But I don't know why he calls them gyros.
I don't know, because I have a note here that says, look up what gyros are, and I didn't do it.
I did.
Okay.
And had no luck.
Okay.
So maybe it's like
It's a Troy thing.
maybe it's like geriatric checks because you're old people. I
don't know. If you're in Britain and you know what a gyro is,
or why it's called a gyro,
in a mail bag, not like a gyro sandwich, whatever they're called.
which is a euro.
Yes.
Maybe they're gyroscopic checks. And he's just pronouncing it wrong.
I don't know.
You can't see me doing like a hula hoop motion in my chair, acting like a gyroscope.
What do you guys do around here for fun? We have 2 pubs and a chip van.
That only shows up once every other week or something like that.
Every other week.
Oh, I wish we had a fish and chip van that showed up.
But Troy and Jay, they have a lot of smiles between each other. Ooh.
Yeah,
there's a love connection.
There's like this little moment where there may as well be like hearts and stars coming out from their heads and music.
So one of the pubs is called The Plow.
It has to be.
It has good food, a beer garden, real ales, and it's the pub with a difference. What difference does it have?
It's different in that they play Aunt Sally there.
No. Lots of places play Aunt Sally.
It's different that they have an old curmudgeon-y barman.
No.
Oh.
No.
Then I have no idea.
Really, it's the pub with a difference.
It's something that makes it different from the other pub in the village.
And the other pub in the village is the Sword and Scepter.
That's pretty different than the Plow.
Yes, I am aware that those two things are
Well,
different.
that's the difference.
And I
then.
wonder if they call it the Plow and the other one the Sword for plows into
Swords into plowshares.
swords into plowshares. I wonder if it's that's a joke that the writer and the two of us and now all of you got.
Yeah. Wink, wink. Get it? Get it? It's so clever.
Simon needs the mail right away.
He's desperate for a check because the tax man's after him. Because apparently he's not paying VAT on his desks.
Yes. But John Field and Barbara Judd have no idea what he's talking about. Now, John Field.
Killer.
I wonder if he's related to the Field from the last episode. 2 episodes from the UFO episode.
No.
Okay.
But the actor, Robert Glenister, is related to somebody important.
And who is that?
Philip Glenister, who is DCI Gene Hunt in Life on Mars.
Gene Genie!
Gene Genie. He is Gene Genie's brother.
Okay, that makes sense because he has a Gene Genie vibe to him.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't watched Life on Mars, you have no idea what we were talking about. But Life on Mars it runs 2-3 seasons.
Yeah, it's set in the 60s. This guy goes back in time and is a cop, but none of that matters. The Gene Genie is like the coolest cop who ever existed.
He's
is like White Shaft. He's awesome.
White Shaft with T.
Yeah, and they even call him Gene Genie. And there's that awesome sketch comedy that makes fun of Midsomer where Gene Genie comes in and solves the crime on YouTube.
Yeah,
and
it's Gene Genie in Midsomer.
Yeah, it made me think of that. Plus, he was formerly married to Amanda Redman, who plays D.S. Pullman on New Tricks.
Oh, okay.
She's the blonde who's like the one person who's always in New Tricks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they're married? Oh, okay.
They used to be. They're no longer married.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
Yeah, he's Gene Genie's brother.
That must be an interesting gathering.
Yeah.
You know, Christmas.
No, I'm the brother with the bad teeth. He's the cool one. Like, that would be the conversation.
My note here is, should John's face not be covered in blood?
He's fast to wash it off, I guess.
And then we have Aid, who is, okay. The last episode, I talked about the useless vicar. Aid is the useless farmer, angry guy.
Is he a farmer?
I don't know what he actually does. He's like a gameskeeper.
Yeah, but not for anybody.
He makes that damn fence all episode.
But on the side of a hill, and he's not fencing in anything.
So those fences, there's a whole kind of thing around these fences. I forget the exact name of them. I'll have to look it up.
They're like split reed fences.
Split reed fences. And they're usually created when you're really poor and you want to put your animals in a spot.
Right.
And keep them there.
Yeah.
But Aid has no animals.
No, a dog.
He has a dog. And he doesn't appear to have a home because he only goes to the pub. But he's got a big old billhook.
And if he's Owen's gamekeeper, if he actually works for Owen, he doesn't want to keep his job.
No, he doesn't.
Because he curses him out, disrespects him, treats him pretty crappy. Not like Owen is his boss.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he does have several billhooks, one of which goes missing. Dun, dun, dun.
Mary is really upset.
Oh, yeah.
Because
she really liked
her
Dave.
husband tells her Dave is dead.
He knows that she's had an affair with him, but he told her to stop, so she did. That it was done.
And she's been behaving.
Yeah, since.
Whatever.
And then Simon's got 8 hours before he goes to tax prison, and Debbie's his only hope.
Debbie, you gotta save me.
Owen is, I find his character complex and troubling.
Owen?
Yeah.
See, okay, Owen's a creep. Okay, he does creepy things, but I kind of like him.
I can't decide.
I kind of do. But he should have been told what was going on in the village. Wow. He's not walking around on his property. He's getting on his high horse on his property.
Yeah, he comes home and it's like, what's going on in the village? And Louise tells him, and he's like, well, I should have been told. How does that make me look? And then she says, oh, poor David. And he goes, well, as you remember, it was Dave, except on special occasions. Like, being murdered isn't a special occasion.
Well, apparently having sex with Louise is.
I think if you can call somebody by their full name on any day, the day they're murdered is one of them.
I would think so. But the police are not really impressed by Owen's OBE.
No, they don't care about that.
No.
He wants everybody to care about it. And then all these old dudes are at the bar, right?
Yep.
It seems too early in the morning for them to all be at the bar.
They're all at the bar. There's a lot of bar work done early in the morning here.
And
he wasn't a very honorable man. He liked other men's women too much.
Well, Ben, the guy behind the bar, is ticked.
Yes.
Because now they don't have a full Aunt Sally team.
So Aunt Sally.
Aunt Sally. What did I say?
No, you said it right.
All right.
said Aunt Sally. Aunt Sally is a game that these pubs play. I didn't go into a deep hole for Aunt Sally. I went into a deep hole about finding out how much it would take for us to set up an Aunt Sally thing in the backyard.
A pitch.
Because it looked kind of fun.
It does look kind of fun. It looks kind of easy.
Yeah, I would think so. So a little tiny aside, I'll be real quick about this. I went to England in 93 for the first time, and I went to Hastings and spent the night because I wanted to see what the ocean looked like there. And as I was eating in a pub, just normal everyday pub, I went by myself on this trip. The barman was like, "You're visiting town. Do you have anything to do tonight?" And I was like, "No, I have no idea what to do tonight." And he goes, "Well, come on." And he takes me through the back of the bar and down these stairs. I'm at this point, I'm like, okay, where are we going? And through all these tunnels that they had built during the war for bombing, right? Way down, I'm completely lost. And now at this point in time, I'm like, I'm in a British horror movie.
Nobody's ever going to see me again.
And he takes me down, and there's a sub bar below the bar, way below the bar, and they have this game that's like lawn bowling. They have like a whole area set up for it down there.
Bulls?
Like bulls. But the best part is they had taps running from the kegs up in the main bar down to pumps to taps down in this bar. And downstairs, the beer was free.
Hey.
You just took your... And I sat there and played games with these people all night. They asked me all these questions. It was
But they didn't have an
wonderful.
Aunt Sally pitch down there,
No,
huh?
but they were the most wonderful, loving people I'd met on my whole trip. So
That is not the situation with the Aunt Sally at the plow.
it is a cutthroat game at
Yeah.
the plow.
And Owen runs it with an iron fist.
And unfortunately, David Cutler was our best player.
Oh no, drats.
My marriage has always been safe. Weird, but safe,
Whatever you want to call safe.
I guess.
Tom goes to see Holly to get her version of what she saw that morning, and she is the snottiest child in existence. I just want to give her a Kleenex and say, blow your nose.
Who has more goop coming out of their face? The doctor in the car after the car crash or this child?
Holly.
I think
Yeah.
so. Oh, wait a minute. I heard music on a boot box.
Yeah. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-da. Boom-cha-boom-cha-boom-cha-boom-cha. My note just says, she's so snotty. They want to move a mobile incident room in, and Jay advises Tom and Troy that the people around won't take to it, right? So I think, on one hand, I think people who have something to say won't. In such a small village, they won't want other people to see that they're going to talk to the police.
I guess that's
right?
one argument, yeah.
And the other one is this kind of backwoods, small village, banjo. Well, they won't take kindly to strangers in mobile incident rooms
Or
around
mobile
here.
libraries, apparently.
Yeah, they don't even like
They've
mobile.
got those fancy books.
Yeah, I wouldn't want anybody to see me going into the mobile library. The shame. Oh my gosh.
Find us a building.
Yeah. So they go to the Roxy.
Meanwhile, Owen's listening to his version of music,
Oh,
which is his wife having sex with Dave. Now,
he's so weird.
Louise is a trooper here because she had to record that stuff on her own in a studio somewhere.
Yeah.
And she's a trooper.
She's an actor. That's what they do.
She's absolutely. I hope the guy recording that audio and her had a giant laugh the whole day.
Yeah.
I hope they had a great time.
Or maybe she just already had some recordings and she just handed them over.
Yes.
Oh, here, we don't need to record that. I got some.
Bob Cutler, your name is now Dave.
Yeah. And then it's suddenly dark.
How does it get so dark so fast?
We go from a murder that happens before sunrise, and now it's dark.
Okay, I'm going to go over this a couple of times. in this episode.
Okay.
But Dave Cutler got killed, let's say 6 a.m. this morning, in a small village.
Yes.
Now, I've had an affair with Dave.
Called Goodman's Land, by the
Right.
way. That's the village that we're in.
I've had an affair with Dave. And I know Simon wants to get his frickin' papers.
Right.
But I just got a phone call that was funny old music. And I've locked the door.
Because I'm scared.
So now I'm going to go outside.
Yeah. And I'm not going to walk along the road because that's blocked off because of Dave's murder. So I'll just take a shortcut through the woods.
Like, why does she leave the house? Why couldn't she call Simon and go, get over here and get your own damn stuff?
That's what I would have been doing.
And Simon would have been like, okay, and driven over.
He would have been right there. And then why does her coat look like a bathrobe?
I do not know. But luckily,
Here comes the creep.
banana.
That almost sound, when you sing it, it sounds like the Dick Van Dyke Show theme song.
So in the meantime, Barnaby has left the darkness that is the Roxy and its disco ball. Why is the disco ball still there?
I don't know.
And he's upstairs going through records, including 1955's When You Lose the One You Love by Dave Whitfield with Montavani's Orchestra.
Did you listen to this music?
I may have.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
What I love most about the hall is that instead of an exit sign, it says way out
Way out.
above the door.
Way out.
It could just say out,
Yeah.
but it says way out. Speaking of hippie movies,
Meanwhile, Debbie gets killed.
it's far out, dude. It's way out.
And Debbie gets killed pretty violently.
Yeah.
Though, I don't know why she, like, at the sound of that music, she just drops all her papers.
No, but I think she trips because it's muddy and she's wearing a robe.
Okay. I have a new name for our killer, though. The Upbeat Jazz Music Killer.
Ah.
Because that's what the titles called it.
Oh, yeah. Upbeat jazz music plays.
Yes. The Upbeat Jazz Music Killer, the killer with a soundtrack.
But it's not a good one. Simon's looking for Debbie, right? He's desperate for his paperwork. Maybe I should have said this earlier. So there's a weird relationship between Barbara Judd, well, the actress who plays Barbara Judd in the pub.
Fantastic. She's
Marion McLaughlin is her
tons of
name.
things that we like.
And Simon, who's played by Nikki Henson. They are both in another episode of Midsomer, the same episode. They seek him here in 07,
Okay.
playing different people.
Okay.
So they come back.
And that's the French Revolution filming episode. Yes.
They're both in that one again. So they have a little reunion.
No, that's nice. Maybe they know each other professionally.
It adds to the confusion of this episode, though, to know that not only are some of these people in other Midsummers, but they're in them together.
I have to assume in those situations, they hire one of them and they're like, do you know somebody who could do this? And they're like, oh, yeah, I know this guy. He can do that.
Yeah. Or it's been 5 years since he was on an episode, so now we can hire him again.
Exactly.
Because it's been long enough.
I wonder, and I'm going to have to do this now. Oh, I've cursed myself.
You've just created a database.
What is the closest in which two people, and one person has played two different characters?
I may have that answer
Oh,
today.
you may have that answer.
But not
that
yet.
isn't Mrs. What's her name?
No, not her. And in way more episodes, too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm eager to find out about that.
Yeah.
So in the incident hall, we see that Jay is really looking at Dave's picture, mostly because she's like kissing it. Like, I miss you, Davey, Dave.
I don't know that he's all that good looking. I mean, when we see his,
Well-
he's not hideous, but he's not like, hey, hunka.
We talked about this last week that, you know,
In a small
clearly
village.
our standards of beauty are not what British television shows.
Well, and in a little village, right? You've only got so many people to choose from.
Exactly.
And he's the best looking single guy.
I can see that.
So, okay.
So Troy and Barnaby want to talk to Mrs. Yateman. And so they go to talk to her, but Mr. Yateman's there. He's on his breakfast break.
Because he manages the dairy. So he must go to work at like 2 a.m.
And this is where he goes, I didn't kill him. I forgave Mary, and she's behaved herself since.
Just want to punch him. And she's so sad.
She is just wrecked.
And not only does he not care about that, but when he tells her that Dave is dead, he does it in a very callous way.
I think he's joyful that Dave is dead.
And doesn't care that it's going to upset her.
No.
Or maybe he enjoys that it's going to upset her because that serves her right, you know?
Yeah, definitely. By the way, have you seen my papers?
Yeah, they're bloody in this evidence envelope. Well, give it to me. I need it.
Well, Aid found them. So Aid brings the bloody papers to the incident hall. Now, okay. This is the warped view I have. I got completely obsessed with this tiny thing that Aid says here.
No.
So Aid says it's 12 miles from Badger's Drift.
Right, because he grew up in Badger's Drift, and he used to bike over to is it the Rex or the Roxy?
The Roxy, I think.
Roxy to dance when he was a kid. But
Yes.
that's 12 miles away.
To which I have a note that says 12 miles, you would have had to take 3 buses and a train to get there.
We have had many of these conversations between the two of us that British people just don't realize how small their country is, and they act like every distance is a million times bigger than it is because they've never lived in a country as big as the U.S. Like we think nothing of taking a day trip that's like 4 hours there and 4 hours back, and to them that's like we're going to have to stay over at 2 places.
Yes, exactly.
It's 4 hours away. That's a 3-day trip.
The magic of computers allows me to go back in my notes after I hear something further on in the episode. So which I've added a note that says, maybe Owen should just walk there. Because he walks 8 miles a day.
That's true. So Owen can walk 8 miles, but it's crazy that Aid would have biked 12 miles to go to a dance.
Yeah. And he says he came in like Jack the Lad. You know, Aid has all sorts of problems, but this is his best speech.
Yeah.
He really comes alive here. He comes in like Jack the Lad, which is a brash, cocky young man in Britain.
I bet you he would have been wearing some winkle pickers.
I don't no idea what those are, so
You don't know what winkle pickers are?
I'm not interested in my winkle being picked.
A winkle is a snail. Winkle pickers are men's shoes from the 60s that have very long, pointy toes.
Oh, those.
The
okay.
Beatles used to wear them a lot. Yeah, those are winkle pickers.
Okay.
It would be hard to ride a bike in winkle pickers, I think.
It would be.
It'd be
but,
challenging.
you know, he just put his little his things for his pants in his coat, and he was in like Jack the Lad. Troy's helping Jay with her pylons, and that's not a euphemism. He's helping her with their pylons.
This whole relationship just bothers me.
Would you like some coffee? Yes. Would you like to talk about Dave? No.
They have dinner and, you know, like he buys her a present and they seem to really like each other. And then she does that stupid thing that people do in movies and TV shows and goes, I really like you and I think we could have a future together, but no, I can't.
Okay, because Troy is a catch at this point in time.
Absolutely.
He dresses nice. He's intelligent. He has a good, solid job with a nice boss.
And he's a policeman, so he would understand her job.
And no one in England has handguns, so he's not in danger.
No, but she's not going to have it. Whatever.
No.
Stupid Jay. Though, I got to tell you, I don't think I'd like it if he had a long-term girlfriend. I don't think it would have worked.
Well, remember, he had a wife.
He's married in the books. Yeah.
They go back to the Plow, and they talk about...
No, wait a minute. Which pub is which?
Sorry.
John and Barbara work at the Sword.
At the Sword. They go back to the Sword, and Barnaby talks to John. Like he's an informant or something. They really don't know how to write John when he isn't killing people.
Yeah, he's just weird.
Yeah.
Well, but that kind of lines up.
He used to work in the city. He's been here 3 years. Then what exactly is the inciting incident of this killing?
Oh, I have so many notes about why. But he tells Tom that he saw Mike and Dave have a fight.
Yes.
Right? So Dave was upset that, Mike was upset that Dave was sleeping with Mary. And so they had a fight. And after that, Mike laid it down to Mary too. And she's been behaving since, right?
Yeah.
So now, Mike's got a motive to kill Dave. And then Keith comes home from wherever he's been doing his job and goes to Jay and says that Debbie's missing.
Yes.
Because though Aid found the bloody paperwork, it must have blown pretty far away from where her body is. But I think his dog would have smelled her and found her. But he's a bad gamekeeper, groundskeeper, fence maker guy.
But luckily, they have the dog handler. That's his name in the credits.
Yeah, and they find the dog. They find the body, Debbie's body, and George appears
out of nowhere. George. You know who hasn't appeared yet?
Cully.
Joyce. The forgotten fourth season. Neither of them are in the fourth season all that much.
Yeah, hardly at all. And in my memory, I felt like if you had asked me, I would have said that Cully was in the majority of episodes, and she's not.
And she has been to this point.
Yeah.
But fourth season, Cully who?
Yeah, they talk about her, but she's not there.
She's just somebody they talk about.
Near Debbie's body, they find a bloody kitchen knife from the Festival of Britain in 1951.
Yes. So did you look up the Festival of Britain?
I knew what it was.
Okay.
It's not the murder weapon, but...
It's a national exhibition and fair that reached millions of visitors through the UK in the summer of 1951. Now, the thing that's interesting to me about the Festival of Britain is they had this thing called the Sky Lawn.
Okay.
It was a futuristic-looking, slender, vertical cigar-shaped steel structure located by the Thames in London that gives the illusion of floating above the ground. It was weird looking. It's like a big cigar-shaped UFO.
And how do you spell it?
Skylon.
Oh, like a skylon. I thought you meant skylawn, Lawn.
No, not lawn.
I was like, oh, it's like grass in the sky.
No. No wonder you were looking at me like...
Like, they had floating turf and you're impressed. I don't know what that means.
No, and this thing was huge. And you could see it from all over the city.
But it wasn't a building. It was like a sculpture or something?
I would have loved to see it. Put Skylon in your search and you will see some interesting pictures.
Huh. So this was, the Festival of Britain was kind of
like
rallying the country after the end of World War II,
yeah.
right? To kind of lift the spirits and...
Mention that they were probably off rations by that point.
Yeah, and celebrate their country.
But that knife wasn't sharp enough and clearly placed there. Why?
I guess we'll find out.
So they go talk to Keith, who is...
So sad.
He is. He's very sad. He asks if she had been molested and anything. He plays the I'm a husband who didn't kill my wife thing perfectly.
Yeah. And Keith Shortlands is played by Adam Blackwood. Mm-hmm. He's a good actor. He has a kind of a peculiar face.
Though Adam Blackwood is quite the name.
Oh, it's a great name.
Yes.
Two things about him that I found interesting. One is that he's in Jeeves and Wooster a lot. Yes. He plays like one of their bestest friends.
I can see that.
And I knew, as soon as I saw this episode for the first time way back when, I recognized him. I'm like, those ears. I recognize those ears.
Was he the Newt guy?
No, he's not the Newt guy in Jeeves and Wooster. But speaking of his awesome Adam Blackwood name,
yes,
he is the voice of James Bond in all of the video games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which doesn't, when you think
like
of this...
Like including GoldenEye, the famous James Bond game of all time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But you to look at him, you wouldn't think super secret agent.
No, you wouldn't. With giant ears.
But he can do the
Q, can you change these ears into a weapon?
But he can do voices. Adam Blackwood.
So then they have a part which is clearly, we're going to explain Aunt Sally to the people who watch this show, not from Britain.
Now, I don't know, because I didn't do a ton of research into Aunt Sally, but the little that I did gave me the impression that it is kind of a regional game.
It is certainly an Oxfordshire game.
It would be as if we went to Oregon and said, hey, do you play cornhole? They would go, what? But if you're in the Midwest, everybody knows exactly what that is.
It's a weird thing.
It's with bean bags.
Sometimes I wake up and I go, I live in Indiana. So there's a doll on the stick, and that is Aunt Sally.
Oh,
so
that's
you
her?
are going to hit Aunt Sally.
Oh, that's mean. Now we're back in Punch and Judy land.
I so want to pick one of these things up.
You want to know if they're heavy? They're wood, right?
Yeah. I would like to play this game to try it out. Now, I did see if there was an Aunt Sally game anywhere near us, and of course there isn't.
No.
So I wish there was. Like I wish there were curling, but unfortunately, no.
The doll must be made of like a really dense wood.
Yeah, it's like a really dense wood.
Like oak or something.
And you have to throw the sticks under.
The batons. What do they call them?
I don't know what they call
Sticks.
So Ben Barrow runs the other pub, and Aid is just Cranky McCrankerson at this point. The randy bastard.
He got what he deserved. Never mind that dying means that they're short a guy on their team.
Yes, because Owen is the leader and a publisher that we'll find out is incredibly important later.
I understand now why Ben was so upset about having an incomplete Aunt Sally team, because really that game between the two pubs is probably the most interesting thing that happens in this village ever.
I would have to think so. They go to Simon's shop.
Did you find out what Clicks is?
Yes.
Good.
Clicks is the vending company.
Oh, I'm disappointed.
It's not a particular
There's
soda.
a vending machine in Simon's shop that says Clicks, Klix.
Which is a cool name.
And it looks like a soda machine, and I was like, ooh, I've never heard of that
Click
soda.
soda.
It's called Clicks?
Give me some Click soda.
It sounds so modern.
Yeah, well, no, they're just a beverage company. Like a
vending machine company. Oh, that's disappointing. Well, he's living in the store, so he's probably drinking a lot of Clicks.
So they're going through his underwear.
Not on purpose.
Accidental.
If you want to buy that filing cabinet, I'll have to empty it out first.
But he sure has a lot of records.
Brits say bloody a lot, right?
Yep.
It's hard for people outside of the UK to know how bad of a word is bloody, because it seems to get thrown around a lot. But when Simon sees his paperwork in the evidence bag, I don't know, somebody didn't read the script here. They didn't.
Because he says bloody like 4 times.
He's like, bloody state of it. It's bloody. Look at that. It's so bloody. Bloody paperwork, bloody woman, and the bloody paperwork. It's like how you can make a whole sentence out of the F word and it makes sense.
Yes.
He's using bloody in every way that you can use bloody.
Including covered in blood.
Covered in blood, but also as an adjective for something that's frustrating or whatever. And yeah.
Well, it's just a way for him to gain his independence.
That's why he left his wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, she threw him out.
Janet. I would have got away from her. She's misery.
Well, Simon's also getting it on with Louise, because anybody with a sexless husband can sleep with anybody else immediately.
Did you find it strange that Louise and Owen live in this giant, country estate and have no help?
No help at all.
It's just the two of them.
Well, they get very bored, I think, because she's doing all the work.
But I don't see her doing any work. She sits and does her embroidery.
Yes, exactly. And she looks at his maps.
She's not very good at the embroidery, by the way.
Listens to his wife having sex with people.
And thinks about publishing.
Yes.
And why people don't tell him things.
Owen is seen sneaking into the house. Owen is weird, but harmless.
I don't know that he's harmless. I mean, that marriage is not healthy.
No.
Louise is miserable. She may be getting it on with half the village, but she's not happy. No, she's not happy. And when she says, I'm bored, and kind of implies that maybe they should split up, he says, but that's not going to change things, right? And as soon as she says no, he's like, oh, good. He doesn't say, but how, good, but how could I make you happy?
No,
right? He's only concerned about his own interest.
About her happiness.
No.
So.
Or assumes that she's happy. Dave's apartment is weird.
Okay, first of all, he has a BT bill, which is okay, but it led me to the question, can the police open your mail if you're dead?
Yes.
No.
It's evidence.
No, it's not.
Why not?
The Royal Mail and the U.S. Mail forbids anyone from opening letters of a dead person but the person who receives their estate in the will. It specifically...
Even if it's already been delivered and it's in their house?
Yes.
Oh.
It specifically said the police are not allowed to open mail of a dead person.
Wow. Well, Barnaby breaks the law all the time, right? But Dave's apartment looks like the apartment of a 15-year-old boy.
Wait a minute. It's not full of girly pictures, dirty books, and a crate of condoms?
No. Condoms.
Condoms?
It's full of toys.
Police toys.
Maybe there was a scene that they cut where it was and Dave's dad was a policeman.
Or him and,
Is it supposed to imply that he and Jay are closer?
And he's dressing up like a cop and being with Jay, which I would hope Jay would be I would like to separate work and fun.
Or she implies that he kind of broke her heart. So maybe he was still kind of, stuck on her. And by having police stuff in his apartment, it made him think of her. It's
just so weird that there's all that police stuff in his apartment.
Because she doesn't have mailman stuff in her place.
And there is no... Why do you have this mailbag here?
Oh, it's just my lunch bag. Never mind.
Never mind. Here's a book of Byron.
Yeah. Why do you have all this unopened mail? It's illegal to open it. What am I going to do with it?
But he does have a Louise Brooks picture.
Yes, he does, up on the wall.
So Louise Brooks is a famous movie star from the 20s.
Yeah, with the classic Bob profile.
Who just got run over by censorship laws, right?
Yeah.
She was kind of the first sex symbol in movies and was unafraid to do naked scenes and things like that. She had no problem with any of that and played sort of salacious female characters, strong women and interesting women, but was linked to sex and film. And then censorship came along and just
destroyed her career.
Her career, yeah.
Dave also has a hand-embroidered handkerchief with his name on it.
I don't know if it's his name because it's so damn hard to read because she's crap at the needlepoint.
Then we've got Dave's funeral.
Yeah.
Now, there's a very important person at this funeral.
Well, I went off on a tangent with the funeral, so go ahead and tell me about the important person at the funeral.
The priest.
Okay, who's only in this scene.
Yep. You think he's a waste of space.
No, not as much as the last vicar, but
He's played by Neville Phillips.
that's a good name.
He's in 6 Midsummers.
Wow.
2 times he's named.
Yeah.
This is not the first episode he's been in that we've talked about already.
Oh my gosh.
But amongst his other credits, he gets to be a priest once. He's a priest here.
Yeah.
A vicar twice.
Okay.
And an admirer once.
Admirer? Mm-hmm. Wow.
He's the admirer.
Oh. And this is the guy who's been in the Midsummer's Closest Together?
Yeah.
What?
He was in 2 in that were in the same season.
Wow. That's different people.
Yes. No, I take that back. He may be the vicar twice in the same season.
Oh.
But now he's a priest.
Okay.
And later he'll be an admirer.
Admirer.
He kind of goes downhill. Like his first appearance, he has a name. His second appearance, he has a first name. And then he's vicar, priest, admirer.
And, when you're writing stuff and you're just putting a character in that's just going to be in this scene.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't need a name.
Sometimes you just throw in a name.
But he must have the face of a clergyman.
He must.
Right? Or the demeanor of a clergyman. But when I was taking notes, I thought, okay, so we've actually talked about him before because he's been in an earlier episode. And then I got to thinking about the fact that Barbara and Simon are in another episode.
Yes.
And I had this sudden fear that at some point, as we're going through these episodes, we're going to get to the point where there are no new actors to talk about because they've all been in Midsummer's before.
Later episodes, there's certainly,
there might be 1 or 2 new actors, but everybody else has already been in one, and we've talked about them already before.
I don't think we'll ever get there.
We're out of new people to talk about.
So you were fixated on the priest at the funeral, and I was fixated on the plate. The plate that is on the front of Dave Cutler's casket. The plate that clearly says that he was born 4/11/1968 and that he died on the 28th of October 2000. Because record scratch.
It's the 28th of October when he dies.
Wait a minute. So that means that the day after is the 29th, and this day that they're having the funeral is now the 30th. Where the hell is the Halloween in this episode? Because it's a Halloween episode.
We don't like Halloween around here or mobile libraries.
Nope. There's no Halloween mentioned. It's not talked about. Nothing. And okay, I may be a little Halloween obsessed. I love Halloween, but I'm like,
there's not
could
even
there not be a pumpkin? Or just do this. Okay, just do this. Instead of the 28th of October, make it the 15th.
Yeah.
And you skip everything. Or make it the 2nd of October.
Well, to them, I guess Halloween's not a big deal.
Okay.
It wasn't even a notable thing to avoid or include.
I do realize that it's not as big in Britain as it is in Canada and the UK and the US, but it's still a thing because there's other episodes that reference it.
Yeah. And it's still like fall and harvest. You would still see like corn husks and pumpkins and gourds and that kind of thing.
So this will be forever the un-Halloween episode now.
It is.
It
culminates on Halloween.
Yes, it does. So I have in my notes, why are these people not getting ready for Halloween? Wait, this is actually the 30th.
I'm telling you, it's that small village thing.
So we'll go no more roaming.
Roving.
Then
we get to meet Janet. She's bitchy.
She is. Do you know where we know her from? Mm-mm. Do you remember the Firefly Cage episode of Lovejoy?
Yes.
And the crazy American woman, I think it was?
Yes.
That's her.
Oh. Well, she also, her name's Kim Thompson, the actress. She almost ruined my day.
How?
Kim Thompson ruined my day. Well, researching Kim Thompson ruined my day. Almost ruined my day.
Please go on.
She was in a short-lived mystery show called Virtual Murder.
Okay.
Yeah, in the late 80s, where she and a guy who was I think he's a lawyer, he's a barrister or something like that. They investigate crimes that have kind of a supernatural kind of twist to them, sort of X-File-y, sort of. And so I thought, I want to see a clip of this show. I want to know, like, how paranormal did it get, and did they debunk that stuff, or was that the point of the show?
Now, what year is this?
In the late 80s.
Late 80s. It's called Virtual Murder?
Yeah, there's only 6 episodes of it.
That's impressive that it had that name in the 80s.
So I did some Googling to find a clip of this show and found something completely different.
Yes, so this is the text that you sent me this morning that freaked me out. Because I thought you were making it up.
I was not making it up, because as I was looking for a clip of Virtual Murder, the show with Kim Thompson in it, I discovered that there is a Murder, She Wrote episode called Virtual Murder, in which Jessica, the old lady from Nantucket, goes into virtual reality to solve a mystery.
I seriously worried about my wife, Sandy, at this point in time. I was like, baby, that didn't happen. It just didn't happen.
You said it was a Berenstein Bears thing.
Yes, it clearly
like that happened in an alternate universe.
The universe
it's not real.
that we exist in, no point did Jessica Fletcher put on a VR headset.
I said, OMG, did you know there's an episode of Murder, She Wrote where Jessica Fletcher goes into a virtual reality to solve a mystery for a friend who makes video games? And you said, no, there isn't. And I said, 1993 episode called A Virtual Murder. You said, that's a Berenstein Bear fake level thing. I said, I just watched a clip. And then you said, OMG. Headset and everything. ZOMG. And then I sent you the clip and you just said the F word.
Yeah. So, of course, we'll put the clip.
Needless to say, I couldn't help but watch 25 minutes of like a 50-minute show. And
did Tom Bosley put on the set too?
No.
Oh, damn.
But I do have to say, I know it's a completely different show, but I do have to say that the VR headset that Jessica Fletcher wears way back in the early 90s is way better looking than anything we have now. It's like mirrored sunglasses and black gloves, and she's in VR.
Yeah, it looks like an Oculus Rift. It looks like one of the latest technology.
25 years too early.
No, baby, that's like 30 years too early.
Okay, even more. And Jessica is good at it immediately.
Of course she is.
You know, Barnaby should go into VR at some point. That would be awesome.
There is a mention later about email. And then there's a point where they talk about Twitter on Midsomer. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, with John Barnaby.
Yeah, I think so.
All I know is that darn show that Kim Thompson is in, it was a Google trap. It's like I woke up 40 minutes later and was like, wait a minute, what was I doing? Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be researching stuff. Troy wins a leg of lamb.
He does indeed.
In the big meat drawing.
So
it's the best poster ever.
The sign in the plow says it's the Plow weekly meat drawing. So this is weekly.
Every week they give away meat.
£1 per strip, which I'm assuming is a ticket.
Yeah.
Top prize, large leg of lamb. Second prize, free range chuck. Third prize, this is the one that I'm a little leery on. Ox tongue and or heart.
Ew.
And then fourth prize, homemade sausages.
I don't know.
If I won third, I'd be like, can
I trade? Can we trade? I got a tongue.
And Troy won first place.
Like a lamb.
Like a lamb. Which is like in a pressure wrap thing. Like
it's vacuum sealed.
Yeah, but
what?
I would thought that this was like a farmer who had brought this stuff in.
Yeah, but even local meat processors can do vacuum sealed.
Oh,
That's not a big deal.
But I would have liked to seen it wrapped in the kind of butcher paper.
But then we wouldn't have been able to see what it was.
And then you open it up and go, a leg of lamb. Why is this in here?
I don't know.
It has nothing to do with the story. Like if Troy used the leg of lamb to beat up John at the end, that I could see that.
There's this whole kind of weird village integration
It's
thing.
Chekhov's leg of lamb.
In this whole episode, you get the sense of like Tom and Troy kind of integrating into the village so they can suss out what's going on because it's a very closed space, right?
I guess so.
So Troy is kind of falling in love with Jay, and they're at the pub, and they go to play the Aunt Sally. And I even wondered at one point whether they were staying there instead of going home because Troy changes clothes between day and night. But then Joyce shows up, so it can't be very far away, right? Nothing's far away.
It's only 12 miles from Badger's Drift.
They probably just, run home at the end.
Maybe they send Owen home to get their stuff.
And he just walks it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and gets their stuff, maybe.
The next morning, Barnaby watches as Yateman drives away and sneaks in and talks to the wife. He was his usual boob-grabbing self.
The scene in the pub is the first time I realized that John and Barbara both live there. They live at the Sword. They both live above the pub.
Yes, and they're like roomies, but they're not romantically connected, though.
I think
she would like that.
I think there are two living spaces. They don't live together.
Yeah.
But they share the kitchen. And yeah, I think she's got a soft spot for him.
And he's on the phone talking to his girlfriend, which is like he's not actually talking to a real person.
No. He's talking to dead air.
It's weird. And then Barnaby has a dancing scene.
Yeah. Did they need to fill space?
I guess so, because it's like purely a visual joke, because Troy and Jay catch him, and they're like, we gotcha. Off to the nippy chip.
Hey, it's only there every 2 weeks.
It sells cod, place. I don't know what that is.
Fish,
Monkfish, chicken, pies, burgers, rolls, cold drinks, selection.
I don't think I could tell the difference between those 3 fish, breaded and fried.
They also do events, but that was all I could read on the other side.
Oh, so you can hire the fish and chip van to come to do your wedding?
The nippy chip, yep. But Troy brought her flowers.
He did, so they could get fish and chips. They take it home and eat it on plates.
Yeah, they do, which is fine. They live right there. Troy finds the Byron book.
And so we know that she's the one who left the flowers at the funeral about we will go no more a roving. Then
She doesn't want a relationship, so let's go play Aunt Sally.
And this is like the big event in the village. Joyce shows up and there's a lot of tension. All of the potential suspects are there. And
Louise wants to get as drunk as possible, as quickly as possible.
I can see why Tom wanted to be there, though, because now you're seeing all these potential suspects and their relationships and them talking to each other. I think it would be helpful.
Yep, exactly.
But Tom is the man.
Well, Troy is not the man because he goes 0 for 6.
Yeah, he misses it completely. I worry for those 2 guys who retrieve the Aunt Sally when they're standing there so close to it that he's going to hit one of them. But he has a good spirit about it. He laughs about it.
But Tom, bang, 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 bang. He knew how to do this game.
Yeah, he's not just a natural.
No.
He's a good player because he's played many times before.
So Owen goes to pick up the sticks and almost gets hit by one. Everybody there would have seen exactly who did this.
Yeah, I don't know if they thought the audience will understand that everybody would have seen it, and so nobody's going to say anything because they all would have thrown it, or we're actually supposed to believe that nobody saw who threw it.
Well, clearly it's Aide who threw it, and he completely throws Owen under the bus.
Yeah, he says that you stole a billhook.
And you hated him, so you killed Dave Cutler.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know what's really going on.
And Louise is just drunker and drunker and drunker.
Well, she takes Simon outside to let him down easy.
On a bench.
So it's 1:30 in the morning. My next note is all in capital letters, which is, it's Halloween.
You said the F word out loud. You're going to beep yourself there.
And she goes, why? It's 1:30 in the morning. Why would you go to back to the store to see the police?
The police want to see me at my store. What?
They want to buy a desk.
I need a desk. Stat.
So he goes, and now the record player he's got, that's a better sound system than
John's boombox?
John's
cassette player?
Cassette player. And I have to say, thumbs up to the sound guys, because the sound is better when it comes off the record player.
They can it when it's from the cassette player. So it sounds better.
So it does sound better.
But Simon doesn't know how to dodge.
No, he failed his dexterity check also.
That desk is, 15 feet in the air, and he can see it coming and has time to say, oh no.
Yeah.
In that time, take a step back.
Yep.
And is John up there on that shelf?
Yes.
Way up there on that shelf?
Waiting in his coat. Banana.
But I just wonder, how do you get leverage on a shelf that high to push without rocking? I mean, I'm sure they're very stable. You don't put big stuff on big shelves like that if they're going to wobble around. But
I don't know how he exists without a forklift. How do you get that down? Normal every day.
How do you get it up there in the first place?
I want that desk up there 3 levels up.
Yeah.
How does he get it down?
He must have one.
He must have a forklift.
Because he got it up there in the first place.
My comment is, I guess Simon got rolled over by a rolled up desk.
He could have even taken a step forward.
He could have. That would have dodged it equally.
And the leg area would have made it clear him.
Yep. The morning of Halloween. Sometimes I walk 8 miles. Well, then you could go between Badger's Drift and the damn Roxy.
I just keep noting, what does Aid do? What is Aid's job? Why is Aid there?
At the scene of the crime, where they find Simon, they find a scarf with perfume in it.
It's tacky.
And then we see that it's The Creep by Ted Heath.
That's where we first see the name.
And some old tat, which is makeup, which is frosted lipstick.
Pink.
Frosted pink lipstick.
Louise admits to Tom that she's had all these affairs. She's very straightforward to him and frank about it. And
well, think of poor Louise at this point in time. The last 2 men she's had sex with are dead.
Right.
She's got to be a little on edge.
I would be. Tom says, why does everyone in this village seem to be at it? Because they are. Or at least this little circle of people.
He only comes home early when his wife is entertaining.
Yeah, see, okay, here's Owen being creepy again.
It's just, ugh.
So he records it. She doesn't. He does.
But she knows he's
She knows.
But he records it.
So he has to be there. It's not as if she's got a tape recorder in the bedside table and just presses record.
Yeah.
He stands outside and records it.
It's very strange.
I mean, whatever you're into, if you're not hurting anybody, fine. But don't tell me that's not creepy.
Now,
why does that recording, when he plays it for Tom and Troy, suddenly go to birds?
Do not know.
It's sudden.
It is. Louise says that goes through the evidence, touching it with her hands, that the scarf and the lipstick, and this is probably the best line of the episode for me, is it's something a man would buy for a woman because he thought that's what a woman would want.
Mm-hmm. But in the 50s.
Yeah. Troy and Jay, though not going to have a long-term romantic relationship or short-form bonking, can dance.
To Dean Martin.
Yes, who's singing Tangerine, which was written by Johnny Mercer and Victor Schweitzinger, which has the great line about across the Argentine. Because how on earth do you rhyme tangerine with any other word?
Orange. There's a gap in this story that I don't understand. See if you can explain it.
Yeah.
So to this point, Tom has not actually heard the music that the killer plays.
Yeah.
Nobody has sung it for him.
No.
We have no reason to think that he knows anything more than it seems like old style big band music.
Exactly.
Right? It made him look around in the attic, probably just reminiscing about music, though he's not old enough to have been involved in World War II and big band music. But then he and Joyce are in Oxford and they're in the music shop.
Okay. I have lots about the music shop.
Okay. But my bigger question is, why are they there? What is he looking for?
He's looking for more big band music because he wants to hear more. Even though he has all the records.
So you didn't have the impression that he was looking for the song?
No.
It just made him think, oh, I like that kind of music. I should have more of it.
He looks on the record player and sees the creep. That's why we know it's the creep.
Mm-hmm. So he now knows what song it is. That's right.
Yeah.
So we don't know why he's looking other than just that he thinks, I want to listen to some more of that kind of music.
So they go to Astley's in Oxford. And it's Astley, not Astley's, which was actually an actual store that was run by a family of Edwin Astley, who was a well-known composer of music for film and TV in the 50s and 60s. Now, when this store closed down...
Is it a one-off or is it a chain?
a one-off. It's
Okay.
in Wallingford, which is like a suburb of Oxford. When this store closed, it made national paper in England because it was such a beloved place.
Oh, well, it's nice that they included it.
Yep, it's 3 Marketplace in Wallingford. Unfortunately, now it's a Costa.
That's quite the change.
Well, you know, they're recruiting, so if you need a job,
Costa will hire you.
Costa will hire you.
Blame it on Amazon. Little music shops going out.
And
of
they
business.
talk about this person, what's her name again? Cully. Who the hell is that?
Well, we don't have to think about Cully too long because Owen's about to get killed. I do not understand this death.
Yeah, there's several problems. First of all, it's way out in the open, right?
It's remote, though.
It is remote. Luckily,
But John has to drive there.
Aid and his cigarette are there. The same cigarette he's had in every single scene.
But they're kind of across the valley a little bit. So John drives his car up there in the mud,
knowing Owen will be exactly there,
though Owen walks a different path every day.
guess.
Plays the music in his car, but Owen doesn't see him coming.
No.
Gets out and
Doesn't hear the car door.
beats Owen with his own stick.
And then takes a pen and puts it in a tree.
Yeah. Why?
And then when the cops get there, they said, oh, this happened like half an hour ago. Well, then you should have passed John on the way down.
If not, they just drove over his tracks.
Yeah.
So there's no identifying the car from the tires.
Well,
Would you
luckily-
have even noticed that pen?
No, I wouldn't have noticed.
It's
that.
dark against a dark
Yeah.
tree. What I don't get, though, and maybe John had the billhook in his coat and just decided that it was, poetic justice to beat him with his own stick.
I guess. What does that have to do with the pen?
Well, Owen wouldn't publish his book. And if you remember, when you see the manuscript of the book, it's written in like calligraphy. So I think John wrote with a fountain pen.
Far as we can get to get this pen into the story.
I think he wrote it with a fountain pen.
Oh, I agree with you, but it's still weird that the pen is in the tree.
Yeah. It's not a clear piece of nobody will miss this evidence.
No.
But luckily, since Aid is just over there across the way,
Collecting dead stuff.
He saw the whole thing,
Sorta.
but without noticing any of the details,
Yes.
like the color of the car.
Or the fact that he killed Owen. He's like, I didn't really see what happened.
I was too busy making my useless fence. Me and my dog.
So Owen, Simon, and David, all important men in Louise's life, are all dead now. Louise is having a bad week.
Debbie just got caught in the middle.
Yeah.
Poor Debbie. She and Louise did not have a relationship.
Debbie's husband's moving to Dorset, though.
Well, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Somebody wanted her to work on a typewriter and wear an old dress, but we're not sure who.
Well, don't forget, now that John's come off the mountain after killing Owen with his own stick,
Being covered in blood, sorry.
his imaginary girlfriend has broke up with him.
Oh, my imaginary girlfriend.
No, wait a minute. His imaginary mom girlfriend broke up with him.
Exactly.
Because his girlfriend's name is Tammy, which was his mom's name.
Okay, I realize that I'm in a unique situation, that my mother's name is Madonna.
Which I never get over. Because she's the least Madonna-like Madonna ever.
But I'm not going to date anybody named Madonna.
And certainly if you're going to imagine a girlfriend to impress your friends, you're not going to name her Madonna.
No, I'm dating Madonna has a different context. Oh, really? You're dating Madonna?
Sure.
Well, you know who's not dating? Gavin and Jay.
No.
She gives him the old heave-ho here.
And this is yet another scene. Okay, John drives, yes, but he doesn't teleport. How does he get around so fast?
Well, with his precious billhook that he touches and pets.
Oh, no, it's a cassette recorder sitting next to him in the car that apparently he pets.
Oh, it's just so
Because he
weird.
goes from being on the mountain or on the hill killing Owen to being down to observe Jay and Troy. Then he's suddenly
pub.
at the pub
With no blood on him.
and Tom's there. Well, I don't think he'd have as much blood on him this time after beating Owen with a stick.
But still,
It's not the bill hook.
he'd be at least disheveled.
Yeah? I don't know.
But he's going to a jazz club in Midsomer Worthy.
Yeah, he just whips out an excuse to be out there in his car with his cassette player.
Don't tape it, it's naughty, as opposed to killing all the people that you've killed already.
Yeah. Well, if you really want to break the law, don't record a concert.
I have another little note here that says, these people have missed Halloween completely.
You just couldn't let it go, could you?
No.
You were obsessing about that.
Barbara says John needs cheering up. That whole thing about Tammy comes out that she's never called there. And then Dave is suddenly a suspect out of nowhere.
Not Dave, John.
John is suddenly a suspect out of nowhere. I realize they're running late in the episode, but all of a sudden it's John.
So you don't think that Tom has a good reason to suddenly be suspicious of John?
No, not as a killer.
Well, we know one of his alibis doesn't really hold.
Yeah.
When he took Barbara into town.
Well, before that, he's a suspect, though. Like,
everybody is.
I'm talking before that. And I realize everybody is, but I just feel it kind of centers on him a little too quickly here.
Yeah, it's kind of a sudden click without an explanation.
Yeah.
Right? Now, certainly after Tom sees John's room, done deal.
It's 1 and 1 equals he's the killer right there.
Yeah, he's Norman Bates.
He's got a typewriter. He's got a book entitled Dark Autumn by John Field, which is handwritten with calligraphy.
And bound with ribbon.
He has
That's not how you deliver a manuscript.
to his mother.
Yes. Not just one, but several.
And then Tammy is written on pictures of Jay and Debbie and crossed out under the picture of Debbie. Like, this is not a healthy person. And Barnaby's like, this may put John in the frame.
Meanwhile, Jay's got some kind of mysterious phone call saying, I have evidence. Meet me at the Roxy.
Come dance with my billhook.
She's like, oh, okay. I'll be there. Yeah. So his mom, let's just cut to the chase here, okay? His mom's name was Tammy. She was a single mother. She had to support him. We get the impression that not only was she like a hostess at a dance hall, but she was probably a prostitute.
Barnaby says she's a prostitute.
She died. She lost her looks and she died.
Yeah.
John blames himself because she did what she had to do to raise him.
Yeah.
And it cost her her looks. So we assume that she had like syphilis or something like that caused her to get ugly before she died.
Something.
And so he blames himself. So he's taking it out on the world, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's his condition.
So how old do you think John is?
40.
Okay, so it's been 32 years since his mother died.
Right. So we don't know why suddenly he moves to this little village.
3 years ago.
And then snaps. We don't know.
Slowly over time.
Right. But the way that he expresses this obsession with his mom is to make shrines to her.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, I got the shrine.
He has all of her things.
Yes.
Okay?
Mom's things.
That's not too strange.
Nope.
Now, the level of stuff that he has is weird, but he loved his mom.
You might have a picture of a dead relative in your house.
And maybe you've got something of hers. That's nice to have something that was hers.
Yeah.
He's got a lot more than that, but okay. Then he decides that he's going to turn other women into his mother. And he tries, right? So he tries with Debbie. He wants her to type on his typewriter, and he wants her to wear a dress that was probably his mom's.
Yeah.
Well, she wouldn't do it.
How did he get that dress, by the way?
He kept it since he was 8?
When you're an 8-year-old and your mother commits suicide and there's no father in the system...
You grab a dress.
You grab a dress.
Or maybe he found a dress that was from that era that looks like one that she's wearing in a picture, right?
That I can see.
But why does he want to turn these other women into his mother?
And then be with them like girlfriend.
Yeah. That's the part I don't understand.
Yeah.
So he punishes these people who are sleeping around because his mom was a prostitute. None of them is seeing a prostitute.
No.
None of them is demanding money for sex.
No.
So he's just now the morality enforcer?
The best I can think of is that this thing with Debbie and Dave is new, and that Dave dumped Jay because of this.
So John's upset because he liked Debbie and she was seeing Dave?
Yes. So that's a reason to kill Dave, okay?
For stealing his Tammy.
It's a reason to kill Debbie because she cheated on him, right? It's not a reason to kill Simon. Simon has no reason to die in this episode.
No, he dies because he wouldn't sell John the desk.
Okay.
The author's desk that he thought he needed to have.
That happened a while ago because Owen has a lot of shit on that desk. So this happened a while ago. So why didn't he kill him then?
John says he killed David for preying on women. He kills Debbie for not wearing the dress. He kills Simon for being an adulterer and not selling him the desk, and Owen for rejecting his manuscript.
But why did he not kill Simon and Owen earlier?
I don't know. That's what I can't understand.
Kill Dave earlier. There's no inciting incident in this that makes any sense. We are going extra far to try to figure this out.
Right. If we could add to this story and we could say, John recently found his mother's diary.
Where she said,
this is my life and these are the...
And my kid ruined my life or something.
Or no, these men that I pinned my hopes on were cheating on their wives and dumped me and abused me. And
something like that.
Then maybe a brain that's not right might say, oh, well, then all these other people are like the men who hurt my mother.
Or even just be crazy and give him a real girlfriend, not named Tammy, and have her dump him.
Right. Even that, the heartbreak of another woman leaving him.
Because
right?
that's the plot of a future Midsomer.
But no.
I don't want to give it away because there's spoilers here. But there is at least one other Midsomer in which a killer goes on a killing spree because he got dumped by a woman who said she was going to marry him.
But so he manufactures that. His fake imaginary girlfriend dumps him.
Why is he manufacturing pain for himself?
Maybe he needs a reason. But he's already killed people before that happens.
But still, 3 years. There's no slow decline into madness or anything.
No, he's like normal killer, normal killer, normal killer.
Yeah.
In the same hour.
He tries to kill Jay and Troy gives him a good thumping.
Jay is pretty good too.
Yep. And then they interview him there and he spills the beans about everything. So then they go outside and Troy says, I bought her a book of Byron poems. So now we know who is Arovan.
We already knew that because the book was in her place.
And then the episode ends.
The end.
Did you have to end it real quick? Meanwhile, Cully's in the background going, I came all the way from France to be in my scene.
And everybody else is checking out wardrobe for the next Midsomer that they're in.
It ends way too quickly, and the killer has no actual motivation other than being crazy.
Maybe that song made him crazy.
He's the creeper. The creep.
He is the creep. So, best corpse, we've got Dave, Debbie, Owen, and Simon.
I'm going to go, I like Debbie. She's got her mouth open. She's got some blood on her. She's not bad. Do we actually see Simon, or we just see part of Simon?
Part of him.
Yeah.
He's under the desk.
Owen's not very good. I'm going to have to go Debbie.
I'm going to go Dave.
Dave?
He's the original. And he's got a postman's uniform on.
Yeah.
And he's nearly decapitated.
You don't see any meat, but of course meat would...
Take it beyond the rating.
So it's either Debbie or Dave for sure.
After the credits.
So this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because now Louise has a bunch of money and no connections to this town.
No, she's out of there.
She is there is a Louise-shaped hole in that house.
Yeah, because she doesn't have any connection to the estate and all that stuff. She doesn't care about that.
Barbara
and all the men she liked are dead, right? Yeah. Barbara's now on her own.
And she needs a lodger.
And Keith is sad. He's already moving on, but he's sad.
I thought about after the episode, and I thought a lot about the Yatemans, because Mary is still stuck being married to that idiot.
Mike.
It's just...
Her life doesn't change.
There's no justice for Mary.
No.
All she wanted was some fun in her life after being married to the asshole. Now, I'm not condoning infidelity in any stretch of the imagination, but if there was a woman who needed some fun in her life, it was her.
Yeah. But there's a bigger question.
Okay.
What's going to happen to all those desks?
Wow. I'm going to need a forklift.
I kind of enjoyed thinking that Julie was going to be stuck with figuring out how to get rid of all the junk that Dave has in his store.
That's true. She would be, because she'd inherit all of it.
Because they're not divorced yet.
No.
And she thinks it's all crap and that he was crap. And guess what?
She owns all of it
now. She's stuck with it. All the angle lamps and ugly desks and file cabinets and dirty underwear.
Yep.
She's got to get rid of all that stuff, and she deserves that.
Yeah, she does.
And Jay is, left lonely and alone in a little village full of weird people.
So I have a question about Jay's house. Is that a station or a house?
I think it's a combination.
Yeah, and she's the only one there.
Right, because
it says police outside the house.
Yeah, she's a community support officer. So I think she's got like a little office built onto the side of her semi-detached. That's the police station.
Is that where she keeps her Byron?
Yes, and her pylons.
Yes.
Right there.
Yes, exactly. So that was...
Dark Autumn. And now we've got a big question we need to ask the audience.
Yes. So we are mere days away from new episodes of Midsomer. They come out on the 1st of December. So when you're listening to this episode, if you're listening to it on the day it drops, it will be the 18th of November. So we're just a little less than 2 weeks away from new episodes.
And we're thinking that we ought to do something special for the new episodes, but we can't decide what to do.
So I don't want to spoil new episodes for anybody, right? But I also want to kind of make it an event, like a live tweeting event. Or the other thing is, I was thinking is we probably won't get these till the 2nd of December on Acorn and BritBox. So, and we'll probably only get one episode a week. So this is kind of a 4-week situation here.
Right. So we could do a little mini episode that just...
that said, this is full of spoilers.
Or that isn't, that just points out like, ooh, here's a few fun things in the new episode without talking about who the killer is. We could live stream watching it for the first time. We could... Which
is kind of crazy because we'd have to clean up the living room.
We could do a live tweet event where a bunch of us watch it at the same time.
Yep.
You know, and tweet our responses as we go together. And a lot of you are on Twitter, and thanks for all the great messages that you already post.
Yeah, or Instagram, we do the same thing.
Yeah, so. But you know, we're all in different time zones, so that might be difficult. So what we want, our goal is to make it a little bit special without ruining it for folks who don't get a chance to watch it at the time. But we don't want to just let it pass. You know?
I also don't, I don't want to step on Acorn or Midsummer's toes.
No.
If they have something planned, we're going to go with whatever they have planned.
We'll join in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
But you, listener, awesome people, if you have an idea.
Yes.
I'm thinking of Suze.
Yes.
Suze on Twitter.
Suze on Twitter.
Amongst lots of other people. If you have an idea of something fun, that would be awesome. Share it with us. Leave it in the comments. Send us a little message. Share your ideas, and we'll see what we can put together. We'd like to do something fun.
I agree. Next week is episode 5, season 5, episode 1, and I've made a decision that it is season 5, episode 1.
Even though there's controversy.
There's controversy,
around it,
and we'll cover the controversy, and we'll cover why I came down on this.
And it's called
Tainted Fruit.
They ripen by their own corruption.
Meddlers. Poor district nurse.
It's a fun episode, and it's always fun to share them with you. So leave us a comment, follow us on the Twitter, the Facebook, the Reddit, all those different places. You know where we are. So
absolutely.
Until next time. Bye,
Thanks, Maniacs. Bye, Maniacs. A telepathic stage musician named Taro.
Start again. He's not a musician.
Okay. A telegraphic stage.
No, he's not telegraphic either.
Okay. 3rd time's a charm.